And let's going back to have a look of Chinese education system. And when you're 6 years old, you go into primary school for 6 years, and after 6 years, you go into middle school for another 3 years. So these 9 years together, they are compulsory education in China. So that means as soon as you graduated from a primary school, you get an offer from a middle school, but only if you have a city ID. So I don't have that. It's not only a problem for myself. Why is that? Because China in 1978 began to have this opening up policy. So it's also the beginning of the urbanization in China. And in the city, there are a lot of jobs need to be done. Very basic jobs they need to be done. So they need more laborers. And also at that time, all the farmers, they are very happy to go into the city, to work in the city, to get better pay than they work very hard in the farmland. So at that time, a lot of farmers go into the city, and even some of them, they see the very unique opportunities. They get this opportunity and they start at a very early age. They became rich and even became millionaire or billionaires. But most of the farmers, they came to the city, they kept doing the basic job, and they were paid very low, and they didn't have all of these relevant rights. Look, they need to pay a very high tuition fee for their kids. And nowadays, most of them, they cannot even afford this tuition fee. Their kids need to stay back in the village, and they work in the city. So that's a big influence for a whole family, and they don't have all of these rights, and especially when they work the whole of their life hardly in a city, they don't get any pension. So a lot of problem during the China's urbanization, and till now it was not properly so. But finally, I went to a middle school, because at that time, this school want to perform well, and they want some smart kids. And what they think you are smart enough or not, they basically give you an examination. If you pass the examination, they think you are smart enough. And I was luckily be considered smart enough to attend this school. So that was my chance to get my education for middle school. It's 3 years. And after the middle school, I went to another high school. It's another 3 years. You might still remember that I said if you get into the university and you will get a city ID, you will have a better life. Yeah, where is that examination? You can have a good life. It's after the high school. So after this 9 years compulsory education, very typical China, you will have another examination. You don't choose. You don't choose yourself. You said, oh, I want to do something else, like vocational school. You don't. And basically, if your score are high enough, you go into high school automatically. Only if the losers, they will go into the vocational school. Yeah, that's basically the thing that you go all the way to the up if you are like being dumped, and then you're going to choose something else. So you have another 3 years for the high school, and after this high school, you will take an examination and go into the university. So this examination is a very important one, whether you are going to have a prosperous, good life, or you're going back to the farmland. Using my grandfather's way is that you were going to pick the cow's poop every day. So yeah, before understand the Chinese education, you need to understand this examination, basically Chinese college entrance examination. It's not like when you have like a CITO or other tools, it's a successful closure for the previous education. But this examination in China is more like whether you can go up to the top, or you will be dumped in the middle. In China, we call that Gaokao. And Gaokao, this Kao means examination, so it's an examination. It was a yearly event, happened in every June 7th and 8th for 2 days. And what that goes over, that's 4 examinations for mathematics, Chinese, English, and combined science or arts. It depends on what you choose in your high school. And it's so important because it will going to decide your future life. It also so important because that is the only standard to decide whether you were going to the university or not. Like if you're going to apply a school, you might have you will have a motivation letter, or you will have a recommendation letter from your teachers, and you will have the previous 3 years academic transcript from your high school. And all of this is not important in China for this examination. Only your score matters. And this is a film about a school. Before the examination, they still 78 days. So it's a teacher have several conversations with the students, and also the teacher going to participate a meeting for all of the teachers in that area. So let's have a look of this film.
1和6放在一块儿，1和7放在一块儿。看，可惜组合的这有没有呢？没有。因为能力是练出来的，成绩是考出来的，对不对啊？只有通过大量的做题训练，才能够训练你的解题能力、答卷的能力。你可以算个账，到最后高考的时候，每天2道题的话，你能做多少套题？每天涨1分，高考必取胜。哎，这就是咱们的这个今后复习的口号，可以说，每天涨1分，高考必取胜。
事件或者是理论过程材料准确的动作，材料准确的动词或者说句。
就像你们几个的这语文成绩来说的话，只有你看郑博120分，吴杰雄122分，你唐志远的语文成绩仅仅考了101分啊。对吧？你在高考的时候，你们几个的数学成绩尽量向140分以上进军，对吧？那么再看看你们的这个理综成绩，将来如果说你们要考到清华北大的话，你们的这个理综啊，我想得理综者得天下。实际上我的看法是，整个偏低，将来你们的理综应该是在280分以上。
这些要求呢并不高，并不高，我们吃在高考前夜，他们为这个高三的可能教师呢，应该是感觉到身上的压力和肩上的责任，肩上的责任，成绩是第一次考出来的，第一次考出来的，这是这个高考前不存在这个高什么素质就是说可以把这个东西，就是这个地训练，就是个地训练，因为高考前是。我们必须把学生训练到呢，让他呢没考必胜。那么高三，目标只有一个，就是高考。高考只有一条路，就是加强复习。
压力确实够大。
就是说，现在其实就像咱们会年级中的其他的老师啊，都喜欢带好班，其实好班的压力更大。为啥说好班的压力更大？因为全校的老师、全校的学生以及社会上的老百姓啊，全都看着你们。老师们都是5点半起床，晚上9点半以后才能回家。所有的学校都是这样，并不是说咱们这所学校。为啥呢？因为高考的压力太大，校长压力大，班主任压力大，学生压力大，学生家长压力大。
So that's it. And this is basically this examination giving everybody the pressure it's so much pressure, and then it's also like a psychological test for everyone. Yes, please.
The teacher was talking about a combined score. They needed a combined score to go to the university.
Oh, no, it's also the combined science is one of the 4 subjects will be in Gaokao. In Gaokao, there are 4 subjects: mathematics, Chinese, and English. And another one is a combined science. So in the second year of the high school, you are going to choose whether you will sit in the art program or science program. If you go into science program, you will going to study physics, chemistry, and biology. If you're going to choose art, you will going to study geography, politics, and history. If you choose arts, and then will be combined art subject. So it's a basic examination over these 3 subjects you have choose. Yeah, the education experience in China. If I have 2 words to conclude the education, that will be endless examination and scores. Yeah, for the endless examinations, we have so many examinations for mock examination, monthly examination, mock examination for the city, for the province, you name it. The basic based on the semester, and we have 2 semesters for every year. First semester, and then about 4 weeks of winter vacation, and another semester about 8 weeks of summer vacation. And every year we have 4 main exams. So others are uncountable. 4 main exams, 2 midterm and 2 end term. And for these 4 main examinations, we all do rankings. So with your name and your scores for every subject, and the last is your ranking in your class and your ranking in the whole grade. And what they do with these rankings, they have a big poster in the school corridors. So everybody can see that, everybody. And even more worse is that after the 2 mid-term examinations, we have a parents' meeting. So we invite all of the parents come to look at our scores. And the head teacher will also give sort of a lecture, but this lecture is all about academic. And the teachers and the students, everyone will divide the students being good students or bad student based on their scores. So we will say, oh, look at that bad student, something like that. So the teacher giving the lecture for the parents, they talk about who is the highest score in mathematics, and how our class is performing in this examination, and what we need to prove. And some of the time they will invite a parent, a good kid's parent, and to share their experience of how to educate your kid can get a good score. You can imagine those bad students, their parents, and they will, hey, who are you? I'm the last one's kid's parent. How do you feel that? They will tell you that every score is very important. And if you have one score higher than other person, maybe it will be 1 in your class, but it will be 2 in the whole grade. And when you're going to take this important final Gaokao, it will be hundreds of thousands in the country. So you need to, like another teacher said, everyone's score is important. So we are trained to gain every score. And we need to be number 1, because only number 1 will be praised. If you got, like the highest score is 95, if you got 94, your name will not be mentioned in any of the situation. And I remember once I think it's relatively fine. It's like, for example, 85. And then my teacher asked me for personal conversation. So my teacher said, how do you think about your score? I said, yeah, I think it's pretty good. And the teacher said, do you know the highest one? I said, yeah, it's 95. And the teacher said, and why do you think you are good then? But yeah, there are a lot of 60s, 70s, and even some of them, they are not qualified. In China, below than 60 is not qualified. The teacher said, you need to look at the first one. You need to work hard to get there. You still have a lot of things to get improved. So, okay, so I was very ashamed that I think myself is still good enough. So you need to be number 1 in all of these situations. So, and then you will see that scores is so important for the students. And also for the parents, they will think that if you got one more score, you just get more chances to get admitted in a school, more than hundreds of thousands in the whole country when you go into that Gaokao. And you will have hundreds of thousands more chances to have a better life. And for the teachers, you also see that in the video, it's a lot of pressure for the teachers. And basically, if a teacher will get promoted or the teacher whether get bonus, depends very greatly on how their class is performing in the examinations. Basically, it's the scores. And we even have a saying that if a teacher can only teach the good kids to get a higher score, you're not a good teacher. If you can teach the bad kids to get a good score, and then you are a good teacher. So imagine that pressure. Never be a good teacher. And let's have a look of the education way in China. It's one direction lecture most of the time. So in one class, both of the middle school and high school, it's about 60 students. It's like double of your numbers sitting in rows and to listen to what the teacher said. Sometimes the teacher also give you a question. Will say, hey, Ed, tell me about how do you think about this question? And you are very timid and tell them an answer. And in fact, the teacher only waiting for one answer, the one right answer. If you said something wrong, and the teacher will not say, hey, it's a good thinking. How do you think about that? Why do you think in that way? They will immediately say, that's a very simple question. Why don't you know that? It's kind of stupid. So if you experienced several times of this, you will feel like, I don't want to answer any question because I don't know whether it's right or wrong. And also sometimes if you don't have the right answer because maybe that's really stupid mistake you have made and you have to stand the rest of the class. Sometimes you need to sit in a corner. So we don't want to answer any question unless the teacher said, you need to do that. So we stand up, we just give our answer. Because we don't know whether it's the answer the teacher is looking for. And we don't want to humiliate ourselves in front of another 60 students in the same class. And all in all, we don't want to just stand up to prove that we are stupid. And so imagine that if you work with a group of Chinese students and they are probably quite quiet and they don't really express themselves. And from a Western perspective, and you might think that, oh, these Chinese students maybe don't really care. And he doesn't think very actively and don't want to give too much contribution to the group work. But if you understand the background story, maybe that's not the case. And maybe in their mind, there are so many possibilities, and they already think possibility 1, oh no, it's not the teacher looking for. 2, oh no. 3, it's not perfect. So they might already have a lot of thinkings in their mind, but they are so afraid to express themselves because they don't want to humiliate themselves in a group of people. That's the truth, is that if you think in that way, they might think a lot of possibilities. They don't understand that it's the teamwork. You just need to speak out what you think. And then maybe some other people will be inspired. They don't think that way. They just think, if I give an answer, I need to give a perfect answer. It cannot be wrong. Otherwise, I'm so stupid. And another very typical feature for Chinese education is that we recite a lot of things. We recite basically everything. For example, in a history lesson, let's say the Opium War, and we'll see it happened, Opium War 1, it happened in 1841, and the Opium 2 was 1854, and why it happened, and there is a whole reasons, 1, 2, 3, 4, and what's the influence, 1, 2, 3, 4. So instead of giving you the facts, you're going to find out the answer, why it happens or what's the influence it is. They already write all of the answer down. You only need to remember them. We also want to research, to explore. But if in the end examination that is a question, you only need to write the answer what you remembered from the book, and then you will get the score. And then you just do it because that's education teach you what to do. And that's that's a way you will get a better score and get more chance to have a better life. So you just do it. We have a lot of reciting. It's just so much, like you just say from the video. In the morning, they have books in front of them. They're going to remember 1842, 1842, or something like that. So your teacher also teach you that you need to use all of your senses to remember one thing. If you look at them, you keep writing, and then if you keep speaking, you use every of your basically everything to remember one thing, you will remember better. That's why we have this morning reading about 40 minutes to remember what's on the textbook. You might think that, oh, the Chinese people, they are not really creative. Yeah. If you have a program, if you have a task, you will say, let's do it in a creative way. We don't want to take that risk. Because if we know this is the answer the teacher was looking for, and if we do this, we get a good score, why would we take the risk and put us into a very embarrassed situation? Maybe finally I only got 20 for my examination and I cannot graduate, and then what? So we just do the safe thing. The teacher might think that's right, because the teacher is the only one give the right answer. If the teacher asks you, you don't know the right answer, the teacher must know. The teacher is the only one could be right. The teacher knows everything. So we don't take risk to do this creative things. Maybe more fun, but we don't do that. So that's one thing when you cooperate with Chinese students, and then you need to find your own way to like sort of encourage them to express themselves. So it all sounds like it's so black and it's so heavy, but if you think back, you always have some good experience, and also it never stop a kid to have some fun and also good relationship with your friends. And also we even have a saying that your life without Gaokao is not complete. And if you think that, oh, it's so much pressure, but in the end you survived and you will be fine, and then if you do other thing else, you will think, yeah, I can do that. If I can survive that, and what else I cannot. So it's kind of spirit you gain from this test. I mean, at least for me. And also those people, they stayed there for all of your good times, the bad times, after every examinations, and they encourage you, and all of the things they do, they know who you are, and for all of those times, and these people will stay in your life, being your best friends. And especially they also stay at the most important moment sort of in your life. Yeah, that's education.